Sharing my screen. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, is it visible? Okay. So yeah, today's session is on smart assessment ecosystem, automated rubrics, feedback, and you can say that academic integrity checks. Okay, so that is the core part for the today's session, and we will be seeing that you already know that in this ecosystem. Okay, in this ecosystem, when we talk about in this ecosystem of education, the one very important thing is it is not only about creating the test, it is also about grading the test. And I hope you are already aware that how much time it got consumed in when you used to do the copy checking. Okay, because when student is actually writing some answers and you need to do the checking, so that is some task which actually take huge amount of time. And that is where you know that where your lot of effort is actually required. It is not just only about creating the assessment, but with that also how you are evaluating it, how you are giving the scores, and how you are giving the feedback. And I can't imagine that if there is in single session, if suppose there are 400 students or 200 students, then you can do a copy checking, that is fine in some certain amount of time. But how can you give a personalized feedback to any one single, you can say that student? Like, getting my point, what I'm saying? Okay. So now today we'll be going to talk about it, and we'll see, we'll go into the depth of it. And we'll see that how we can use this AI thing to basically to generate those you can say that scores. And how you can say that it's not only about that AI is actually doing your work. It's something like how we can train AI as our, you can say that as our teaching assistant, who can help us in grading things in a very short amount of time. But you need to remember one thing, even though you have the expertise, that is just a teaching assistant. That teaching assistant can help you only on those parts. But do not just put all the effort on it. It's something like quality check should be happen on your side. Okay, because that is something sensitive matter. So now what we'll be doing is we'll be going to we'll be understanding things, okay, from that level. So now the one very important thing is, one second. So the few things which I want to talk about, okay, there are few things which I want to talk about. So first thing is which we'll be seeing is how we can use, how you can say that AI can streamline through automated rubrics. And don't worry, we will be going to learn about what is rubrics is all about. Okay, and how we can, it's not only about rubrics. Basically, rubrics basically means giving automatic scoring, but we'll see that I'll show you. And automatic rubrics, how we can give the instant feedback to the student. Okay, and how we can do the integrity checks. So the feedback which we have given, that is actually even though we have used that AI system to provide the feedback, that is correct. Okay, so that this is something you can call it as smart assessment ecosystem. Smart assessment ecosystem. This is not consist of the traditional kind of checking, which we that which we need to do and with the student. Okay, now the one very important thing is even if I'm talking about daily teach, what are the teachers' challenges? What are the teachers' challenges? Teachers' daily challenges. So if I say that one of the one very important thing is you already know that like the copy checking, that is one of the heaviest load is there. Okay. Like when I'm talking about the copy checking thing. The second thing is like when I'm talking about the slow feedback cycle. Even though if you want, if you have to give some feedback to the student, so the feedback cycle is very slow. Okay. And now the one very important thing is like the one biggest problem is student using AI dishonestly. It's just that whenever you are giving an assignment to them, and what they are doing is they are just going to AI and copy pasting it and giving it to you. So this is something you can call it as like a rising concerns. Okay, these concerns are actually increasing. You know that like how the AI has evolved, and with that, how these concerns are getting increased. Okay, now the one very important thing is, I told you like one very important thing is like even when I'm talking about AI, so it can actually help us from in solving these problems. The one very important thing is like the first thing is rubric creation, the second thing is scoring, and the third thing is even detecting plagiarism. Okay, even detecting plagiarism. So now the one very important thing is like if I say there is a like serious issue of plagiarism in India, and like if I just show you the link. So now you can see that like this is the article from like Times of India, and you know that like in this way how culture of dishonesty undermining the value of the qualification, and it's something like the use of AI in academic work becomes plagiarism when students present AI generated content as their own original work without proper attribution. This encompasses various scenarios such as submitting an essay or research paper created predominantly by an AI tool without acknowledging the tool's contribution. Okay. So now you can see that like that is a serious issue, right? That is actually the serious issue which we are seeing. Okay. And now, like if I ask you, if I ask you this thing, like, can you answer me this part? Like, what part of grading or giving feedback do you find most time consuming? Even in your experience, what is the, you can say, what part of grading or giving feedback do you find most time consuming? Yeah, create reports, checking copies, right? Evaluating, right? Yeah. Grading inconsistencies. Like suppose students are coming back to you and saying that, okay, no, this is, I need to get more marks there. Okay, theoretical answers. Okay, so that is the main issue which we'll be going to talk today. Okay, this is the main issue which we'll be going to talk today in the today's session. So the first thing is like when I'm talking about the first thing which we'll be trying to understand is the part one is of rubrics. The part one is rubrics which we'll try to understand. Now, basically, when we talk about like what is actually a rubric, so basically rubric is just a scoring guide. So give me a second. Okay. So when I'm talking about a rubric, okay, now when I'm talking about a rubric, like what is actually a rubric? Rubric is just a, you can say that a rubric is a scoring guide listing criteria for evaluating student work with the description of different level of like different performance level. Okay. Now, like you can say that if you are giving any kind of test, then you already know that like in generally in question paper what happens, you used to put that like this is like this question is for 1 marks, this question is for 2 marks, this question is for 2 marks, this is a long time answer, here you will get 5 marks. So basically rubrics means defining these scoring. But you know that like when you are actually taking a test from the student, okay, and suppose when you are creating a math test, when he is actually giving a written test, so then the rubrics will be different. When you are taking an interview of any candidate, then the rubrics will be different. Rubrics means it's something like how you will score that particular student. It's something like criteria on which you will evaluate the student work. So when you are sitting in an interview, then in that case, suppose the communication is like one of the rubric. Suppose out of five, you will give some score to the student. Similarly, if you are actually checking his understanding skill, or you can say the technical skill, then out of like using some number, you will also give the student some marks. Okay, so it's something like when I'm talking about rubric like make assessment more transparent. Rubrics make assignment more transparent, consistent, can provide constructive feedback to learners. Okay, now I just want to show you something. So basically, rubrics becomes like one of the like an innovative assessment tool. So I just want to show you. So now you can see that like rubrics is one of the modern creating criterion-based assessment methodologies that can be adopted to verify competencies, concept development, critical thinking. Now you know that like here you can see that NEP. Okay, NEP has now been in operation for last 3 years, aiming to completely transforming the education system in our country. Apart from appropriate curriculum, engaging pedagogy, the policy document empowers all stakeholders, including as learner, to innovate the themes of curriculum assessment. So the main important point is like the one emphasis on that policy, on the education policy is that there should be standardized. So you can see that like design and implement assessment framework compassing design of competencies, portfolio, rubrics, standardized assessment, and assessment analytics. The one very important thing is like whenever we are actually talking about the rubrics things, like that should be, if your assessment is very standardized, then accordingly we can define the rubrics for it. Okay, so that will be going to talk about in the today's session. But the main point is I'm just telling you that how like at what level this is like a very important thing. Okay, and the good rubric is all about like in what level you are actually defining the student performance. For example, एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं. Suppose when you are actually taking a maths test of student. Now what happens? You have actually put the marks there. Like for if you solve this question, you will get 5 marks. If you get if you solve this question, then you will get 2 marks. So this is like one level of rubric. This is one level of rubric. So if I take an example of maths question paper, so for each question, you already know that like suppose if he is solve short question, then he will get 2 marks. If he solved a long question, okay, then he will get, you can say that 5 marks. Now, what if like this is like one level of defining rubrics? Now, second, so this is like one way, first way. Now, if I'm talking about the second way of defining a rubric is like even under the short question also, if basically student has actually wrote the input values, wrote the variable values, then he will get zero point 0.5 marks. Showing all calculation, 1 mark. So basically what we are doing is for each short question, we are breaking down into like more granularity. It's something like because in that case, like we will be able to define that, okay, at what level the student haven't done good. Suppose if you are just directly giving 2 marks, like whether the answer is correct or not. So in that case, this is like a very vague thing. Okay. But if we define the rubrics in a more detailed format, then in that case, what will happen? We will be able to like give feedback to the student that you have made a mistake. It's not only about the answer. It might be possible student will come to you and say that, sir, I got like for like my answer is correct. Why you haven't given me the complete 2 marks? Then since you have actually broken down into rubrics, then you will be able to give the explanation for it. Okay, because the another like you can say that correct answer, for a correct answer, the suppose the marks is like this one. So now here it is actually making it 2 marks. Are you getting my point? Like when I'm talking about the this one, yeah, rubrics can be generated by ChatGPT, but here I'm just telling you the I'm just yeah, that is a scheme. When you're saying scheme of evaluation, that is a similar thing. Okay, so the first thing I'm talking about is generally when you used to create a rubric, when you create a rubric for the, you can say that like when you create the rubrics for any kind of an exam, then what happened? It is actually kind of a time consuming. Okay, it is like actually a doing like when you are creating the rubrics manually, it is actually kind of a time consuming process. Okay, if you done manually. So basically what we can do is we can use like here AI for this thing. Okay, to draft a rubrics, because if I tell about ChatGPT can draft the rubrics in second. Okay, ChatGPT can draft a rubrics in seconds. But it's something like I won't say that it will be perfect. Okay, I'm not saying that it will be perfect. It won't be perfect, but it can generate clear criteria and performance level description, which you can then refine. So I'm not saying that like you will get like in one go you will get the best rubrics out of all. Okay, so that is something we have. Now I'll just show you. Now I'll just show you in detail like what rubrics I'm actually talking about. Okay, what I'm rubrics I'm talking about. So I'm taking you to this page, and don't worry, I'll share all the links with you all. Okay, after the session. So now you can see this, like the rubric can be written for like either for any subject, even if you have written a research paper, even if you have written an essay, even if you have written a thesis, even if you have written a some mathematical, like you have done some work, for any quality of work, rubrics is possible. Okay, so now you can see that like here in this one, when we talk about like for essay writing, for essay writing, how we are actually talking about the rubric. So there is a criteria on which we are evaluating thesis and evidence. Okay, and based on that we are giving the marks. So don't worry, we'll come to the below point. Now, like the one very important thing is if I'm talking about the first thing is like first we need to understand why rubrics are important. Okay, so I told you like the better the rubric tool you have, better you will able to judge the student. So you can see that like this is kind of a parts of a rubric. Okay, here you can see that the task description has been given, and this is the scoring scale. This is the scoring scale. So suppose if you are judging a essay which is written by someone, so you can see that like we will be judging on two factors. So there are thesis and evidence. So these are the two criteria on which we will be going to give the scores. Now, if the person has written, you can say that like if I'm talking about thesis, if it is of beginning level, that means the thesis statement is missing or unclear. So he will get 1 point. Okay, the thesis statement is present but lacks clarity or does not fully address the topic. The thesis statement is basically present but lacks the clarity or does not fully address the topic, then he will get 2 points. The thesis statement is clear and address the topic but may lack some specificity, then proficient 3 points. And that is exemplary. The thesis statement is clear, specific, and effective address. So accordingly, the candidate will get the marks based on these four categories. Okay, and similarly, he will get the marks for evidence like on these four categories. So this is the table which we have created. Like suppose when we want to evaluate the essay written by someone. Getting my point? What I'm saying? This is one example of a rubric which is created for when you are suppose when you need to submit a thesis, essay or something. Okay, and this is something like of a senior level. Are you getting my point? What I'm saying? Okay. Now the one very important thing is like there are some few important components like of a basically of a rubric. So first thing is like there is a task description. Okay. And the second thing is like the task description. Okay, so basically, whenever you are actually when you want to when you want to create a problem statement, you need to briefly describe the task. Then you need to do the scoring and scaling. Okay, so provide a numerical and descriptive scale. So that's why we put the numerical scale, the different level of skill development and associated points. The third one is criteria and components. Criteria and components are these. Like we actually broken down this thing in two parts. Suppose when I'm taking your interview, so there will be few things which I will be checking. One is the communication skill, second is the technical skill, and third is like how you are actually like how's your cultural fit thing. Okay, how is your cultural fit thing, whether you will be able to fit with the team or not. So there are three criterias whenever we used to take the interviews. Okay, accordingly basically we used to judge the candidate. So that is like something known as criteria. Okay, and now this is known as descriptors. So basically, descriptors is like even for each point, whatever the pointers are mentioned, these are known as descriptors. Okay, and that is something which is required for creating a which is used to create which is required to create the rubrics. Okay, now let's see that how we can generate the rubrics using GPT. Now you can see that like here there is a prompt which is like given here. Okay, there is a prompt which is given here. So basically, first you need to take on the role of like enter your role, eighth grade English teacher. First you need to give the role, and then you need to create. Then you will write these sentences. Create a well-crafted, clear evaluation rubric for student in the form of table using student-friendly language, and then you need to paste your task description. Then rubric should contain three parts: scoring, scale, and criterion descriptor. The rubric should be fully aligned with the following curriculum standard for grade. Paste in your standard, use the following score scale for the rubric, paste in your scoring scale, like what is the scoring scale which you will be using. And then accordingly, your whole rubric chart will get created. Like what are the criteria on which you want to judge the student? What is the scoring scale? And it's something like you need to put the curriculum standard, which you will be testing to the student. Okay. Now, the one very important thing is these five things are very important. Your role, task description, grade level, and all this thing. Now, I just want to show you one example for that. So you can see that like this one. Okay. So you can see that like this thing. Take on the role of eighth grade English teacher. So who is evaluating the student? So we have actually given this information. Okay. What task is being evaluated? So here it is, the whole thing is written for our eighth grade English unit. You have to choose on a topic on which write an. So this is the task is given. This is the assignment. This is a problem statement which is given. Okay. And now you can see that these are the basically the rubric should be fully aligned with the following curriculum standard for grade 8. So these are the things. Okay. These were the things which is mentioned in the problem statement. That is right argument to support claims, introduce claims, use word phrases. So this is actually added in the problem statement only with the eighth grade. Now here we have put the scoring scale also: beginning 1 point, developing 2 point, proficiency 3 point, exemplary 4 points. And these are the five ways like in which we will be evaluating the student. So you can see that like this is the thing. Can you see this? So basically, this is something uh, you can call it as a complete rubric which a teacher has been used to evaluate the eighth grade, like you can say that student like essay. Okay, now I just want to show you like how the GPT has actually generated this. So now you can see this. This is how the GPT. This is the output which is generated by GPT. And now you can see that like based on different summation which we have given to the we need to submit the, we give the student submission, and based on that, GPT has given this output that thesis, the essay lacks a clear claim of present a claim that is unclear. So you can see that a complete rubric, it has been generated here. Later, we will give this rubric with the student submission, then he will get the score. But right now, to just generate the tabular format, so you can see that this is how the tabular format has been generated by the GPT. Okay. So just by giving the above prompt, so this is the output which will get come out. Yeah, you can also evaluate the master's thesis. Okay, but the main point is the level of, you can say that prompt which you are giving. Okay, now let's try to understand, let's see the demo for it, like how we can write the, basically how we can write the rubric. Okay, now one very important thing is you need to understand one thing whenever you are checking any skill. So suppose whenever you are checking a kind of an essay, okay, like research essay or anything, then in that case, what are the important criteria? So one is organization, how we are organized the content, evidences are added or not, grammar is there or not, or etc. Similarly, whenever you are checking some maths paper, okay, maths or some mathematical thing, the one thing is like, you can say that calculations, okay, using basically showing all steps, correct calculation, final answer. So basically, there will be few things like how we will be actually, I'm actually breaking down the criteria. So this actually depend on that. Now let's just see that how we can generate a rubric with ChatGPT. Okay. Now let's just see the demo. Let's just see the demo of how to generate a ChatGPT to basically uh, rubric with ChatGPT. Now first step is when I'm talking about this one. So first you need to set the context. Set the context. Okay. So that is the first step. Now, basically, when I'm talking about setting the content, now first you need to give the role, like what is the context? Okay. So basically, you need to tell the AI that you need to act as an expert teacher. So when I'm talking about a context, so you can write, you are an expert teacher. Okay. You are an expert teacher and curriculum writer. You have already learned about CTRL, right? So you are an expert teacher and curriculum writer skilled in creating assessment. Now, remember one thing, in the previous sessions, I only told you about this thing that you need to give a role as act as an expert teacher, act as a Python developer, act as a, you can say that chemistry expert, act as a chemistry professor, whatever it is. But here we are defining the little bit broader concept context. Previously, we were just writing in two words, act as this, act as this. Okay. But right now, what we are doing is we are actually elaborating our context. You are an expert teacher and curriculum writer, skilled in creating assessment and evaluating student work. So basically, here I'm giving a complete context to the GPT that you are this, you are this. Previously, I was just saying that act as this only. That was a short format. Okay, but right now I know that I want that AI should take this role. So that's why I'm giving this thing. Okay, now one second. Now the next very important thing is the step two. Now the step two is what we need to do. That is our step one. Now the step two is you need to provide assignment details. Now you need to provide the assignment details. So basically this was the context which you have set. Now after that you need to give the assignment details. So basically what I'm doing, so this is my context, which I've already given. Now with that, what I'll do is I'll just tell the assignment detail. So like what is a task which the GPT has to do? Create a rubric for a grade 8 science assignment on photosynthesis. Okay. And here I'm just giving the task that students will write a short essay explaining the process of photosynthesis. So this is the task. So previously I have added the context. Now I have added the task also, what you need to do. Okay. Now this actually here you need to understand one. Here we have put the grade level. You can also put the different levels if that student is live from the college level, if that student live from the postgraduate level, anything, you just need to define the level and the subject. Okay, so the subject and task description is also very important, what student need to do. So that is something you need to do the assignment details. Okay, now the step three is we need to give the rubric structure. Step three is giving the rubrics structure. So basically this was the step one, which we have already done. And now I'm coming to the step three. Step three is you need to specify the rubric structure. Rubric structure. Now here when I'm talking about rubric structure, basically here you are saying that just create a rubric. But now you also need to tell that like in which criteria you will be evaluating it. Okay. So basically here what I'm saying that here I just need to copy everything. And now the next thing which I'll give is rubric structure. So what I'll do is I will write the rubric. The rubric should have four criteria. Should have four criteria. And what all those criteria are: scientific accuracy, clarity of explanation, clarity of explanation, organization, and language. And language. So basically, this is the next thing which I've given. And I'm also telling that, and there are four performance level. And there are four, there are four performance level. Performance levels. So what are those performance levels? Excellent. Either we can say that excellent, either we can say that good, either we can say that fair, either we can say that needs improvement. So basically it could be of any of level. Okay. And here with descriptions of each, with descriptions of each. So this is the rubric structure I have given. Now here, what will happen? You can see that like when I've actually created this thing. Now the next step is we just need to run the prompt. So we have given the rubric structure, and step 4 is run the prompt. So now you can see that my prompt is ready. Okay. I have actually given the context. I have given my task, what you need to do, and I have given the rubric structure. Now in that case, if I come to, so now you can see that the rubric has been getting created. Got it? Understood? Like how it happened? No, like evaluation, when you're saying that when you will be generating the student answer, that will be in the next phase. But the main point is, first is we need to generate a rubric, and how we will be otherwise if you start creating the rubrics, if you are start putting the detail. So now you can see that how it has actually created the thing. So you can just observe here carefully. It is saying that like there are the four criterias, okay, that I have given, but these all are pointers are defined by GPT. So when we can say that excellent, when a scientific accuracy is show a thorough understanding of photosynthesis. All components, sunlight, water, CO2, chlorophyll, glucose, oxygen, are accurate and well explained. Clarity of explanation is very clear, detailed, and easy to follow. Use accurate scientific term in context. Organization is like essay is well organized with a logical flow. In all these cases, we will get 4 marks in all these criteria. And then you can see that like there is a need improvement when show little or no understanding, contain major errors, explanation is unclear or confusing throughout, lack appropriate scientific vocabulary, lacks organization, ideas are scattered, frequent grammars or spelling errors. So all these things are actually comes in needs improvement. So basically all these, you can say that minute things has been defined by the, you can say that GPT. Even though if you only know the broad structure, what are the criterias and what are the 4 levels for this problem statement, automatically GPT will do the whole work for you. Okay, getting it? Getting my point? One second. So now you can see that like this is the thing which we have generated. Now what I'll do is I just want to ask you that I have already given like created these all these 3 steps. Okay. Now what you need to do is you need to write the. Okay, now I'm sharing the prompt with you. And now what you need to do is for your subjects, okay, any of the assignment which you have given to the student, you need to create the structure. Okay. And I'm not saying that like it should be perfect, but the main thing is like at least if I'm giving the chat GPT link, just open this link, automatically it will give you the this prompt. Now what you need to do is you need to copy this prompt and make changes according to your thing, like whatever rubric which you use to create for your subject. And accordingly you can change the context, you can change the rubric, and you can change the like the details of it. And I think you better know that like what should be the criteria on which you want to judge, and what are the problem statement, any problem statement you can take from your field. And you can also give the context, you are an expert teacher on which subject. Or I think we do not need to change this part, like if it is, but you can put it like if it is a math expert, you can also put a you are a math expert teacher. So just quickly do it. So basically, the GPT link which I have shared with you, what you need to do is you need to write the rubrics for your own subjects. So I'm sharing multiple times. So what you can do is open this link, change this, change this thing. Okay, you need to change this prompt, and here you need to change the things according to your like depending upon your subjects. Okay, here it is containing the rubric structure, here it is containing the problem statement, here it is containing the about the giving context to the. Okay, everyone, please complete. Okay. So create a rubric for master in bioprocess technology on mass transfer, short explaining the process of mass transfer and all these things. So accordingly, this happened. Yeah, sorry guys. Okay, so now what happened? Like you can see this thing. We actually got this part. Okay, we actually got this part. Now we need to do the evaluate. Now we need to evaluate the basically some student summation. Okay, now we need to evaluate the basically student summation. But right now I do not have any student summation. Then what I'll do? I do not have any student summation. I want to test my rubrics, but I do not have any student summation. I do not have any student summation. Then what should I do? Because I want to test these rubrics, na? Are you getting my point? What I'm saying? Okay. So others are saying generate using ChatGPT. Yes. So what I'll do is I'll just open this link. I'll say that I'll just put the prompt here. Okay. And that I created so basically I'll created you can say that fake, uh, you can say that I will generate some fake submissions from the ChatGPT so that I will give to ChatGPT on my rubrics. Okay, so what I'll do is I do not have right now have any students so that I can give that problem statement to everyone. Okay, or whether you want to do it. So, but what I'm doing is I will generate those fake submissions through like ChatGPT. So what I'm saying that I created the rubric for the below for Okay. Can you give me some dummy submissions? Dummy submissions submitted by students in a sheet. Five students, like five student submissions are enough, which I will demo in my live session, that how AI will grade the summation using below rubric. And what I'll do is I'll come to my chat GPT here. So the rubric which I have created, okay, I'll copy it from here and I'll paste it here, okay, and I'll just enter it. Now what it will do, it will actually create some fake submissions. So you can see that like it actually created some fake submissions, like student name and some essay, which is actually given by it. Now what I'll do is I'll download it. Okay. Now let me just see where I have actually. So I'm sharing my screen. So you can see that like this is the student submissions, which okay, and the essay which they have written, it is very short. And but right now you can see that like they have written all this thing. Okay, but right now I just need something dummy. Now what I want is I have attached the student summations, grade them on below rubric. So basically I'll attach the file. So sample student summation. So this is my summation CSV file, grade them on below rubric. So what was my rubric? So my rubric was this. Now let's see what will happen. You can use any file, it doesn't matter. Okay, now you can see that like I got some something here. Okay, got some scores here. Now if I just download it and now I'll just open it. One second. Now you can see this thing. If I just show the sheet, so you can see that like this is the final scoring has come. So scientific accuracy, clarity of explanation, all of them has been graded in a CSV file, and that CSV file you can import in Excel sheet. अब CSV ले लो, कुछ भी ले लो, doc ले लो, nothing doesn't matter ना, CSV is just standard. अच्छा हो तो मैं अपनी पूरी अपनी नोटबुक, फिजिकल नोटबुक आई विल बी एबल टू प्रोवाइड, बट ठीक है, यू कैन से दैट CSV is general format. But you can see this na, how the grading is actually happened, how it actually created the grading score based on that rubric. So the point here is it's not only about when you say like uh, that okay, GPT is actually doing all those tasks. The one very important point is like the quality of like rubric, and it depend upon it. Okay, word limit, it we need to see like mostly like the bigger sheets also GPT will able to do very quickly. Right now, I have only taken five submission, bigger sheet will also do. I have tried it on like some bigger data, so that's why I'm saying. But I don't know the limit. I don't know the limit of it. Okay. So what you can do is you can break down the sheets in two parts. होता है ना, एक ही बड़े टुकड़े के चार टुकड़े करो, ठीक है, फिर अलग अलग भेजो, लाइक इंडिविजुअली यू कैन सबमिट इट, बट it's something like but the main point here is like it is actually reducing the effort. Getting it? So that is the main point which I was trying to explain here. Now I just want to show you different kinds of prompts which are there, and which I just want to show you different kinds of prompt. One second. Now before that, I just want to tell you that the one very important thing is the next step is like in the previous step we actually created the prompt, but right now run like remember one thing, there is also one more step which is very important, and that important step is you need to review the output. Basically it is not only about you are saying ki, okay, you have created the prompt, GPT has given the score, but you also need to check that whether it is output relevant to that which you want. Okay, so basically you need to went through like if you have given few submissions, then you need to say that what is the output with the GPT is actually giving. Okay, and it's something like that is where the quality check is required. Even you know that like even in the factory, machines are doing everything. Okay, but humans are actually present at the end stage when the final product is coming, and they are evaluating the quality, and if the quality is not that good they are like keeping it aside. So it's something like for those whose quality is not that good, that for that you will be doing the manual check, but for that whose already things are good, then in that case you do not need to basically do the manual thing. So your time has been reduced, it is not went to zero. ठीक है, जीरो पे नहीं पहुंचा है, बस इस बात का ध्यान रखना. It's something like it went to like it has actually reduced your time. So one very important thing is you uh, people used to think कि can we not do this thing like like we made everything using AI only? No. So basically reinforce that AI gives a head start. So you need to understand one thing. Okay, AI has given a basically AI has given a head start, but professional judgment is crucial for final refinement. So that is something which is very important. Yeah, GPT can also evaluate based on PDF file and image file. Can also evaluate based on PDF file, because PDF file is something text version. In image file, the one challenge which used to come is like you know that like how bad student used to write on their like on their you can say that on their answer sheet. So I would say that like those students who used to write very nicely, those able to evaluate very quickly, but जो बहुत गंदा लिखते हैं जिनको समझने के लिए सही में इंसान ही चाहिए. So in that case, what happens? Like for that, we need to do a manual check. Okay. But it is not correct, right? Ki, like every student used to write like very badly. The handwriting I'm talking about. If the handwriting is decent, the AIs are enough capable to convert into the text. But if the handwriting is not that good, okay, it's something like where you need a sixth or seventh sense to understand, where you know that only a teacher or professor can understand. So that is a different kind of story. Okay. Now that was the like that was my part one. So basically I was discussing about the part one. The second thing which I was discussing about the AI assisted, like you can say that scoring and consistent grading with AI. Okay. Now one more thing is the links which I have opened. One second. Now I just want to show you some example prompt. Okay, all these links I'll be sharing with you, don't worry. Okay, and you can see this. So here the prompt for different like for different variations are given. So you are an expert teacher, curriculum writer, skilled in creating assessment, evaluating student. Your task is to create rubric for my this level and subject class this. My students are completing assignment in which the assignment description format rubric as a chart. Example part, you are an expert teacher and curriculum in creating assessment, evaluating student work, and you can see that subject is grade science and study engineering. Okay, rubric for AI assisted assignment. As an experienced this type of teacher skill, give a targeted actionable feedback with expertise using generative AI in the classroom. Create a point rubric for my this level subject. Okay, now you can see that like these are the different kind of prompt which are there in which you can create the different kind of rubric. Getting it? Getting it, everyone? Does it make sense? And try to understand one thing when I'm talking about like another very important point is like here you need to understand one second. The one very important thing is when I'm talking about AI is developed to develop these tools is just leveraging the technology to improve teaching efficiency. Okay, but it's not replacing the teacher role, but augmenting it. The main point here is it is something like improving the teaching efficiency. So all these tools which are there, it cannot replace basically humans. But the one very important point is it is actually improving the teaching efficiency so that teacher will spend a lot amount like the time which is going for teacher like on all these kind of extra tasks. So the time should get reduced and you will be able to spend your time on more quality work. Okay, it's something like on your researches, learning something or like all this kind of part like where you can improve the quality. Okay, but not on you can say that like okay my work is actually this AI is already doing, then what is you can say that oh, then what I need to do. It's something like AI is replacing those work which are you can say that repetitive and or which it can handle. Okay, but creative task is right now you know that like it doesn't have that level of capability. Now let's move to the next point. Let's move to the next part that I was talking about how we can grade it. One second. Now let's move to the next part. So the next part is give me a second. Okay, I'm getting few submissions. Okay, so now let's come to the part three. So you can say that part two, we have already done it. We actually, in the previous one, we actually created the rubrics. In the second one, we basically given it to GPT and with the student submission, And then what we did is then we used to check that, okay, whether the score which is given by the AI is actually consistent or not. If there is any discrepancy, then what you need to do is then you need to fix it from your side. Okay, that is where the part, like where you can say the extra effort is actually required. Now, one very important thing is, uh, now I'm coming to the part three. Okay. And you need to understand one thing. Right now, I was just evaluating five student submission. But now you know that, like, what if you are evaluating the student 100 student submission? At that point, you know that how much effort and time it has been saved. Okay, so that is the key point. Now, coming to the third one, like we used to say that AI generated feedback fast and formative. Now, try to understand one thing, that okay, it's okay. Like in the previous part, we have seen how the score it is assigned. But what about the feedback? What about the feedback? Grading is alone not enough. Okay. So basically, it has been seen in the research that qualitative feedback. So you can say that, like generate student will get enormous benefit from the qualitative feedback. And qualitative feedback basically means when I'm giving a personalized feedback that you need to work on this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing. And that is something which is lagging in our system. Even if you see our college system or school system, what happens there is student used to sit in the test, they used to give the test and then done. And he or she will get the marks, and that is the final part. But what about that? You can say that personalized feedback. Okay. When I'm talking about qualitative feedback, like where you are actually not going good and where you are actually doing good. And what are the things which you need to work on the next part? Okay, it is something like which used to happen with a manager and employee, that how the manager is used to quarterly give the feedback. So now that is something we want to discuss about in this part. That is the part three, which I want to discuss here about, and that is something AI generated feedback. Okay, AI generated feedback. And when I'm talking about feedback, so it should be faster and formative. So I told you already that uh, only grading alone is not enough. Grading, grading alone is not enough. Okay. So basically, I told you, student get more like best benefit when they used to give like some personalized feedback, like what they did well. Okay, what student should get this feedback, like what they did well, and how to improve. So basically, just by listening those points, they will actually improve drastically. But now you know that like these, because of our large classes, these systems are not there. These systems are absent where we can give that kind of. So now here you can say that here AI is our hero, which can solve this problem. Okay, it can give the generate paragraph length feedback, length feedback. Okay, and which will be aligned to the rubric, which will be aligned properly to rubric and student answer. Whatever the student had submitted, that will be completely aligned to it. Okay. Now, the one very important thing is, uh, like it sometimes, like if I'm saying that, okay, even if teacher is taking the responsibility that I'll give the feedback to 150 students, so you know that like the quality also used to get decrease, because the first student, how energetically the feedback he's getting, when the teacher will come to 50th student or 60th student, you know that like it is like a natural phenomena that our and you know that like how our energy used to get drained with that part. And the you can say that you will also feel that the quality is also a little bit getting degrading. So that is the main point, like how the you can say that a little kind of small kind of inconsistency is coming. Okay, and those might be the initial student; those will get better time, like and more better feedback as compared to the later one. So now the one very important thing is uh, what happens with the feedback is it is a kind of like it actually address the strength and that areas of growth, and even it should sound encouraging. Okay, even it should sound encouraging. So basically, I just want to tell you about two tools which are there which you can use later. That is Brisk and Magic School. Okay, so the Brisk is actually an extension, and in which basically it is kind of an like a Chrome extension through which you can basically insert the feedback. Okay, in which you can like insert the feedback and also mention the point like areas to improve. So that is something which is very important. Later you can explore this thing on your own, but right now I'm just telling you that how you can create a feedback prompt. So the one very important thing which we'll be seeing here is demo, generating feedback with GPT. Generating feedback with GPT. So it is not only about creating basically creating just a rubric which can give the score. It will be great if we create like prompt which can also give a feedback. Okay, so that is something which is very important. Now, suppose like you know that like rubric criteria we have already created, and now let keep the rubric criteria separate. Now we have few things. We have rubric criteria. Okay, the next thing which we having is student answer. The next thing which I have is like student answer. Now the third prompt which is actually needing is basically we need a feedback prompt. We need a feedback prompt which we will be writing. So basically how we can write the feedback prompt. So here I can say that like my prompt will look like this. So step one is, now let's see the step one. Step one is compose a feedback prompt. Compose a feedback prompt. Now, when I'm talking about feedback prompt, then how the feedback prompt will look like? So I would say that provide a constructive feedback on the above. So basically, I'm attaching the student answer, suppose on the above student answer, referring to the rubric criteria. Okay. And the first I'm telling here is first acknowledge two things. Okay. So first, when we are actually writing a feedback prompt, the one very important thing is first you need to acknowledge what you have did well. जो चीज आपने अच्छी करी है. Okay, what are the things which you, because first we need to start with the appreciation. We should not start with the demotivation. So first acknowledge like uh two things, two things the student has did well. The students did well. Then point out two areas where you need improvement. Where two areas where improvement is needed with specific suggestion. With specific suggestion. And now try to understand one thing, like when we are writing a prompt, okay, so AI is actually just following the prompt thing. Okay, and it is not like another human. So one very important thing is, you know, that like as a human, whenever we used to share a feedback, so like if you are even if you are sharing someone like his strengths, also his or her strengths, it should not be in a, like you can say, that very harsh tone. Oh, okay, you have these two are good thing. Okay, that's all. Now let's come to the improvement point, and then you are actually giving the improvement point in the harsh tone. The main point is like the tone should be supportive. Okay, that's why in the end it is very important that we need to use a user supportive tone. Otherwise, the feedback which is giving to the student, if it is like if it is the tone is not good, it might like it might affect the student confidence. Okay, so basically this feedback will ensure, like the prompt which I have written, this feedback will ensure that the feedback is balanced. Okay, the feedback is balanced. So there are combination of positive and negative. So understand one thing. First, we are actually appreciating for the good job. Okay, so it is something like the statement is something like this. Okay, good job on this. on this, basically whatever thing you have done, but you can improve, but you can improve on this. Okay, but you can improve on this. Are you getting my point? This is the main thing. This is the main like you can say that crux for this prompt. And if you put this prompt correctly, automatically you will see that like not only GPT is like putting the structure in a right format, but it is also delivering the student in a right way. Yeah, GPT can give the feedback to 65. So you just put everything on the Excel sheet, give the Excel sheet to the student, sorry, to the GPT and tell that, okay, we need to give the like feedback to this one. Okay. Now, now let's see this thing. Now what I'm doing is like, I'm just copying this prompt. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll come to GPT here. So for those students which I have actually generated the scores. Now what I need to do is, okay, now with the, okay, now you can see that I'm just putting the prompt as it is. So you know that already the students used to get some marks here, okay, and based on the rubric criteria. Now, if I just enter it, now let's see what will happen. So first part was generating the mark score. But what is the, at the end, you know that like the loop will not complete. It is not just generating the score. What if we have this kind of a capability, then why cannot we use it to generate feedback also? Because that will go as a supportive with the answer. Okay. So now you can see that here, if you see that how the feedback is coming, great job you done on the assignment, and you a job on the assignment, you demonstrated a good understanding of photosynthesis process, include many like process, you included many correct scientific component, your explanation was clear, easy to follow. To make your writing even better, here are some suggestions. Work on organizing your ideas better. Try using linking word like first, then, and finally to guide the reader. So basically here you can see that the another feedback, a good, great job. Your explanation was clear, easy to follow, which made your writing engaging. Your language was appropriate. To make your writing even better, here are some suggestion, work on organizing your ideas. So you can see that like all those one, it is in the sheet. It doesn't like, it's just not, we actually got the scores. We also get the feedback for all the students. Getting it? You just need to form the prompt. If you have formed the prompt, and for that, like you can just go to like on the internet, there are many people have written different kind of prompt for different kind of situations that you can refer for your understanding. But right now, I'm just telling you the possibility because I don't know you are from which domain. Okay, many of you are like very different domain. Like one is from biotechnology, another from biology, chemistry, physics. Okay, so there are a lot of domains, but I'm just telling you the possibilities. And if just giving these kind of sheets, what will happen is like it will drastically, you can say that you can say that help you on these kind of tasks. And it is not just helping you out that in reducing your work, but also improving the students which are linked to you, because those student is also getting the feedback, and getting a feedback is like very important. Okay, not just store. Otherwise, like those students who get very less marks, so it will be you kind of, you can say that like heartbroken thing from them. Like it's something like now how you can help them in retaining their confidence. Okay. One question is coming, student can infer that like it is from chat GPT. Even though if it is from chat GPT, the main point here is नंबर तो सच है ना, नंबर जो मिले हैं वो तो सच है ना. So basically when the chat GPT is actually giving the feedback, it is following that things only, these scores only. So the main point is even in the prompt which I have given to you, so the this is actually a very short prompt. actual in real, the feedback prompt is like very elaborative. Okay. So in that case, what will happen? You will be able to see all those flavors in your feedback when you will add all those elements in your prompt. Okay. So that is the main part, like how you are adding flavors into your feedback, like in this feedback prompt, how you are adding like flavors to your feedback prompt. Now, suppose if I'm just saying, if I just tell the GPT that I want I want a better feedback prompt than below because it makes student feel that this is generated by GPT. It should look like by human. Improve the quality of below prompt. Improve the quality of below prompt. Now here, if I'm just giving it, I'm giving the prompt. Now what it will do, it will actually improve the quality. So write a personalized constructive comment each student based on the begin by appreciating two specific thing, yeah, all this thing. Okay. Now here, like if I just copy this prompt, so even what I've done is even the prompt I have generated using AI only. Okay. Now here, if I just keep it, now let's see what will happen. So it all depends upon your prompt. अगर आपने बहुत वेग prompt लिखा, okay, तो in case when you're writing very vague prompt, in that case also you will see that the output will come in that format. Now you can see that this was the prompt from the previous. This is the feedback prompt. This is the feedback which is comes like later from this one. Okay, from the improved version. So you can see that, hi Ananya, you did a great job explaining the scientific part and all this thing. Your ideas could flow better. Think about using linking word or phrase. Then you can see that like how this thing is. So this was the previous one. This was the next one. Okay. So just by creating like improving the quality of prompt, things will become better. Now that was the step one. Okay. And second one is like running the prompt. So run the prompt and show the output. Analyzing the output. So basically we have seen it, we read it and we analyzed it. Okay. So now you know that like even though writing feedback is actually, you can say, that time consuming thing. And even when you are right, the one very important thing is कि whenever student used to get feedback, the one very best thing about is like the consistency. The consistency, the kind of level in which it is actually giving the feedback, that is same. Okay. It might happen like in case of human, when you need to write for the 50 student, the feedback, one student is getting feedback in 4 lines, one other student getting feedback in 1 line only. And why it happens? Because you know that like we are humans. Okay. And because of the limited energy. So, so that is something we have. Now here the step two is this. Now the third very important thing is, the third thing is the step three, the important step is that you also need to check the tone. Okay. Check the tone is very important. Now you know that like if your feedback is actually went very blunt, then in that case what will happen, you know that like it will affect the student. So that's why we use these kind of keywords. So that I was using in my prompt, like use a supportive tone, use an encouraging tone. So that is something which is very important. Check the tone and quality. Okay, quality of the feedback. So basically what you need to do is you need to check the tone and quality of the feedback. So that's why this is step three is very important. Okay. Now the next thing is, now the one very important thing is whatever the feedback is actually coming out of. here. Like that is the step 4. The step 4 is whatever the feedback which is coming out from this, so that you can use it as a, you can say that as your draft. So suppose if you like this feedback, okay, yeah, this feedback is looking like the way I used to write. Okay, suppose if you're very impressed with this feedback, so what you can do is you can copy this as your draft, and then you can use this as a template, that whenever you are writing a prompt, okay, and whenever you are writing a prompt, then you can give an example. For example, this was the feedback given by me to a student. Uh, Learn the style from it, and then you can copy paste it like this thing. Okay. So you can also mention that like given this by me to a student on some previous assignment. So basically, if you like some output, then what you can do is you can draft it somewhere. And when you are drafting it somewhere, so then what will happen? It's something like you will get more used to this thing. Okay, you will get more used to this thing. So now that is something like using AI feedback as draft. Okay. And the one very important thing which we have seen here is the it is not, I told you in the beginning also, it is not that GPT has replaced you completely. The heavy lifting is done by the AI, but the personal teacher touch is added. Okay, the personal teacher touch is added. So I told you, like in the yesterday, in the previous session, teacher is like a high touch profession. And when I'm talk about AI is about high tech. Okay, so what it means? So the meaning of this is like student will get the faster feedback. This means student get the faster feedback while still benefiting from teacher expertise. So that's why that both of the you can say the involvement of both of them is very important. Okay, and like based on the, you can say that. So basically, the one thing which actually come from the teacher is, according to the teacher testimonials, when students receive AI generated feedback via tools like Brisk, they engage in discussion about its accuracy and use it to improve their drafts. Okay. So understand one thing, you can use all these productivity tool. You can explore Brisk from on your side, how you can use it. Okay. That will give you an automatic feedback. But in the today's session, we have learned about this thing, that how we can write the basically rubric prompt, and how we can evaluate the student score, like how we can give a score to the student through using those rubric. And the last one is how we can give the feedback. Okay, that is the very crucial part. Got it, everyone? Understood? Don't worry, I'll share everything like in the, you can say that in the notes, and which you can access. There will be some links which you can refer for the prompt, and you can start using all these things. You can start using all these prompt and everything on your side. And when you use it more, then only you will get the benefit. Okay. Yeah, that's all. Over to you, Shlok. Okay, it was insightful. Thanks. Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Varun, for the insightful session. And I hope all the faculty members like this session as well. So I'll quickly release one poll for all of you. Kindly fill that poll. It is also your attendance. And meanwhile, I'll also be asking a few questions to you all. So last time we discussed about the AI Changemaker program, and a lot of you have given incredible contributions in that. We have received massive nominations of students, and this is something that we appreciate also a lot. So on the same note, in the feedback poll also we have mentioned that who particularly has nominated their students, and how many students they are able to nominate. This particular thing we have also mentioned in the poll. So kindly fill that part, and people who aren't able to nominate till now, they can do it today or before Sunday. So whatever you are able to do, you can just mention that in the poll. So I'm launching this poll. Now it is on your screen. Secondly, people who are not able to see the feedback poll on your screen, I'm also mentioning the Google form link in the chat section. So you can fill the Google form. You can fill either the Google form or the feedback poll, whatever is working for you. Okay. So this is the thing. And I have also received a lot of queries from the professors that, in some colleges, there are some exams going on or some lab schedule and all these things. That's why they are not able to nominate the students. So one thing I wanted to clarify, you can just nominate the students by sending them the Google form and they can fill their choice of counseling session date so that whenever they are available, we can have a connect with them. So even if they have classes or exams, their sessions will be starting in the end of June. So as of now, we just wanted to understand, what they are looking forward to and just have a initial connect with the students. So even if they have exams, just kindly circulate this particular Google form with them. And I'll just request Mr. Raza to mention the WhatsApp community link for the people who weren't able to join last time. I hope this time they will be able to join. We have created a new WhatsApp community.
Yes, I'm sharing. Just give me a second, Asro.
Sure. Yeah. And in case any professor has any query regarding the program or anything, just mention in the chat section. I'll help you out with the same. More than 60% of the professors have already filled the feedback poll, and a lot of professors have driven a lot of students into this program. We have seen massive participation from a few professors, and this is something that I'll appreciate if others will also, invest their time and just refer a few students for this program. Yes, ma'am, the recordings of the session will be sent to you on the WhatsApp community channel. Joseph, sir, if you're not able to make the students join, it doesn't affect your certification for this particular program. That certification is dependent on your attendance, how many sessions you have attended. Hi Vijay sir, I understand it is exam time and students are not available. So what you can do is you can just circulate this particular message in the student groups or whichever student you are connected with. Even on the weekdays when they have their availability, we can have a 10 to 15-minute connects with the students and we can make them understand about this particular program. So yeah, even if they have exams, whatever free time they have, we'll ask them and then we'll have a connect with them. So don't worry on that front. Hello. Yeah. Pooja ma'am, if you're not able to open the links that are mentioned here in your email, I'll again forward those particular email and the WhatsApp message in the WhatsApp community as well as to your personalized email. In that, maybe now you'll be able to access the links. Also, if you can mention your contact details in the chat, I'll ask Raza to directly send you right away. Okay, people who have not filled the Google form or the poll, kindly complete it so that we can end the session. Thanks a lot, Pooja ma'am. Yes, sir. If the colleges are reopening in the June first week, you can inform the students before that also by sending these messages in their WhatsApp groups or personal messages or emails, so that by the time they are in the colleges, we also have had a connect with them and they are able to understand how they'll be able to manage it along with their studies and everything. Okay, ma'am. If you have completed the poll, you can leave the session. Students may need some more time to convince their parents. Definitely, sir. And that's why first we'll have a connect with the student so that, we are also able to understand what the student is looking forward to. And also we are able to give them the entire information regarding the program. Then it will be easier for them to take a decision, convince their parents and everything. The next session, Sanat ma'am, it will be on Saturday. And this is something Saturday regular time 11:30 to 1 p.m. will be the timing of the session. Okay, people who are not able to fill the poll, I'm again mentioning the Google form link in the chat. You can access the link from there. Sujit sir, for the recording of the session, we'll be dropping the links in the WhatsApp community. The next session date is 31st of May on this Saturday. Yes, people who have filled the poll or the Google form, they can leave this session if they don't have any further queries. Anurag sir is saying students of 4th sem will fill the form after June 9th. Sir, if over this weekend also they can fill this form if you just send them across. So, it takes hardly 2 minutes for them to fill this form. Okay, Swapna ma'am, if you joined the community today, we'll be sending the links of all the sessions again in the WhatsApp group so that you are able to access all the lectures. Yes, Lakshmi ma'am, you can suggest this program to other branch students as well, and even students or people you are in connect with that have already graduated from the institute. They can also pursue these particular programs. Okay, any other queries? Okay, Lakshmikant sir, if you are not able to access the recordings of the sessions, again, we'll be posting them today. Maybe this time we'll be able to access the links. If not, then kindly you can drop in a message personally to me. I'll help you out with that. Rabi sir, the program for the students will be beginning in the later half of the June. So before that, we'll be having this connect with the students so that we can finalize, we can shortlist, and also the students that you will nominate will be able to have 20% scholarship. So this is something that only the AI change makers who are driving this particular change will be able to provide to their students. Yes, Rajesh sir, if you have filled the poll or the Google form, then your attendance is recorded and it will be counted towards the certificate part. Okay, so most of you have filled the poll, I think. Whoever is remaining, kindly in the next 2-3 minutes, complete it. Meanwhile, if you have any queries, just write in the chat and I'll ask Mr. Raza to help you out with the same. So I'll be taking your leave now. Thanks a lot, all of you, for attending today's session. I hope you learned a lot and see you in the next class on Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Thanks a lot.
Dheeraj sir, if you have filled the actually Google form, sorry, the feedback wall form, so you don't need to fill the Google form. Yes, Mohammed Alamchand will provide the certificate if you continue to the other session, like upcoming sessions.